The Solar Opposites Halloween special released October 3rd, 2022, to much fanfare. In typical Solar Opposite fashion, the crew, Korvo, Terry, Jesse, and Yumulak, get up to some shenanigans. Terry and Jesse revive a corpse to be used as their Halloween hunt. Korvo spends the month in terror as he fears vampires, ghosts, and zombies around any corner. And Yumulak dies and is pulled straight down to hell. All until 16 minutes and 43 seconds into the episode, when, having been captured by a Halloween-obsessed neighbor, Korvo kills the Great Pumpkin. You heard that right. The Great Pumpkin was answering the prayer of Korvo to resolve the kidnapping he had found himself in. In an act of faith and blasphemy, Korvo summons the spirit of St. Hallows Eve to slay and masquerade in the Great Pumpkin's shell. Truly deplorable. The act of killing God isn't anything new to media, TV, movies, or video games. I mean, it's been around for essentially the last 200 years in philosophy. What is new, however, is the 1-2-3 punch that is this episode, made by the co-creator of Rick and Morty, who didn't grow past the funny voices. The 1-2 punch I'm talking about is 1. The Great Pumpkin is real. 2. Korvo immediately murders said God. And 3. The episode passes this momental moment and uses the dark humor of an atheist praying to a deity, finding out that's real, and then puppeting the flesh of the newly made corpse to escape the home of said Halloween-obsessed neighbor. Korvo guts the Great Pumpkin, filling the carpet with seeds and filling, just so he can get out of there and use it as an escape hatch. What? Just takes the body of this once great wish-fulfilling Santa Claus. Wish-fulfilling Santa Claus. Wait a second. Does Korvo kill Santa? I won't be surprised. It's extremely brutal in its execution. What makes this so impactful to me is the nonchalance this act has on the show. The episode glosses over this earth-shattering event as just another deplorable act that the opposites have done, garnering no more than a guilty expression from Korvo later in the episode when the Great Pumpkin comes up in conversation. To quote Nietzsche's? Not quite sure how you're supposed to say it. God is dead. Nowhere else can you see this summarized more perfectly than this episode. As I previously mentioned, this series gives us the 1-2-3 punch of acknowledging God, killing him, and desecrating in his image. The act of Korvo directly correlates and mimics the exact reason, cause, and fear that Nietzsche worried about some 200 years ago. We see how moral degradation has led media, in lieu Korvo. And what means this? Wait, what? We see how moral degradation has led media to show this nonchalant way of life, where you are the center, you are God. Not guided by a greater knowledge or meaning. When we look to killing God, we immediately think of slaying God beings that transcend our existence. But what should be more apt is the slaying of morals that occur if one believe in no greater being, God or truth. If one believes truth is immutable, you will have more bounds that confine your actions to what is right and wrong. But clearly the display of God murder immediately puts Korvo as being above moral law. One that if you have watched Solar Opposites, you wouldn't be too shocked at. The entire crew of aliens in the show emulate the future that Nietzsche was horrified of. Is that how you say his name? One where there is no moral right, wrong, left, or true. Quote, in those days there was no king in Israel. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Judges 21-25. I mean, again, this just exemplifies how life is seen as nonchalant, how the act of God is seen greater than thou, is just ultimately cast aside for nothing more than a cheap gimmick. It all the more exemplifies how Nietzsche was kind of right when he penned that phrase years and years and years ago. It's a little scary to see how elements of it are true and that he, to an extent, was correct. At the same time, I think part of him is wrong in the sense that life is going to be worse. Anyways, this video isn't discussing Nietzscheism. This is more of just looking at the philosophy of what it is to kill a god, which in a sense he did right. So maybe we do talk about him, but I didn't really feel like discussing this in a 400-hour video essay because I want to work on my craft, not just be a slop channel. This video is going to be like 13 minutes maybe. Anyway, this episode of Solar Opposites was fascinating to me because I was like, huh? What? No way. But ultimately, I hope you enjoy. I have some links to some different readings I did to kind of understand the whole concept of God is dead. And it might warrant a deeper discussion, but I think this video ultimately is to just kind of point out how media has adopted the God is dead mantra as yes, because we are actively seeing them out and slaughtering them with our own hands. I guess you could say this leads into a greater sense of content overall having no right or wrong, which is definitely true. Everything is moral grays now. You don't have definitive true good and evil. You don't have good right or wrong. You have just various shades of anti-heroism. I mean, look at Deadpool. Wolverine almost to an extent. I don't know. I recently watched Days of Future Past, so Wolverine's on the head. I will have to say, though, that this is, within 90% accuracy, the closest we're going to get to a JRPG Solar Opposites episode. Though I never expected a Wile E. Coyote homage episode in Season 5, so I could be wrong. Oh my goodness, there's a new holiday special I gotta watch.